looking at the earlier usages of the terms of travel, you go to a place and you start polluting the place, right? It's not just as uh, minimal to throwing plastic or throwing away whatever is not used, but also uh, over tourism, going too much to a specific location, disturbing the existing habitats. Yeah, these are all huge challenges, making the indigenous tribes or the local communities to relocate in terms of dimensioning development. That's a huge challenge. I feel that you're harming the existing, you're causing a chaos in the whole existing cycle.
Hi everyone, welcome to Now Boarding, a new travel podcast by me, Payal Nair. This show aims at creating awareness about ecotourism, sustainable tourism, responsible travel, and a lot more. We will cover stories and journeys of people who are ecotourism specialists and those who are leaders in their field. We will also be talking to people who have had unique travel experiences, remarkable conceptual places to stay, unexplored cultures, and ancient histories of various towns and cities around the world. Join me in this journey of knowing more about travel. Get inspired to see the world and discover your inner self. Hi everyone. Today I am in conversation with Cherish Manjooran. Cherish is the founder and CEO of Cherish Expeditions, and he's been curating transformative residencies, travel fellowship programs, and also impact expeditions. He's a change maker and very, very passionate as a climate advocate. Thank you so much for joining me today, Cherish.
It's all mine. Thank you for being so wonderful and giving that beautiful introduction about.
Thank you, Cherish. Okay, so let's kickstart the conversation. Just a little background on you. That's the first part of the question, and then how did Cherish Expeditions actually come about before we start talking about other things?
Absolutely. So I did my post graduation in entrepreneurship and marketing from Symbiosis, Pune, and just after my PG, I realized that definitely I have to get into a working space and work for around 6 years with startups and corporates. While I worked with these organizations, I got a chance to explore the country, the length and breadth of the country, and that's where the first identification of the travel bug itching me came into a picture. But there was much more to that when I look back at it today. So it was an experience in itself. While I worked for these organizations, I was really looking at something meaningful that I could do. And the places that I have been taken to during my travel, I stumbled upon this experimental township named Oroville. Oroville is a tiny 5,000-acre township in Pondicherry, 11 kilometers from Pondicherry, where you have people from across the globe from more than 150 countries coming together and working on an alternative model of lifestyle. I was awestruck seeing the work that was being done there. And I was actually on a leisure trip to Pondicherry while I stumbled upon the space. Without taking a lot of time, I decided that I'll put my papers of where I'm working and start volunteering for the causes that I'm inclined towards or that resonate to me. So at Auroville, I visited multiple communities who have been working on sustainable living, community building, and social work that really made a lot of sense. Uh, and I resonated to the work that is being done by Auroville Village Action Group. I started working or volunteering with them, focusing on fundraising for causes that supported capacity building, community building, psychosocial activities. To say a couple of causes that we worked closely were with women who went through domestic violence due to alcoholism in the houses, getting help. And that really struck a chord in where we figured that there should be an alternate model of education. There should be an alternative model of support system. There should be an alternative model of help and bringing in awareness into what is happening in the rural localities, not just across India, but across the world. There has been multiple global issues that has been knocking on our doors, which we take it for granted, thinking that we have another planet, which made me start something of my own.
Okay, that's interesting. Yeah. So, other than so that's your travel fellowship program, right?
Right.
And you also curate transformative residencies. So, what does that entail?
Right. So, two of the core pillars out of a couple of them to say for Cherish Expeditions would be one is definitely personal growth and transformation, and the second one is impact. So, the personal growth and transformation is where the residency comes into place. As I said, when I started traveling through the latitudes and longitudes of the country and otherwise, I realized that once you tap into yourself, once you understand who you are, is when you start connecting with the other people and the environment around you. So the whole concept of well-being, the whole concept of understanding what is your intuition, the intention to do certain work or deep work. All these things were processes when I broke it down. And there has been toolkits and mindsets that has been identified, which is not there in the traditional education system. So I try to bring in residencies, and it is a product of the pandemic. When I figured out that the community of travelers who has been the conscious individuals who has been traveling with us across, who couldn't travel anymore, wanted to do some meaningful work and also wanted to ground themselves. We brought in a residency, a wellness, eco retreat, you can call it, where we take invited 35 individuals who wants to come under one roof, where we all work on certain mindsets and toolkits like, say, relationship psychology, subconscious reprogramming, shamanic breath work, meditation, aqua yoga, and a couple of unique therapeutic activities that focuses on tapping into your intuition and connecting with your tribe. So that's Atmiyam. We call it Atmiyam Wellness Retreat. And we are at the third edition of Atmiyam this December.
So, so just moving away a little bit from Cherish Expeditions, and just trying to get, because obviously you've done a lot of exploration, as you yourself said, and that's what kind of developed within you this this concern for communities and for the environment. So, and then that's how, it eventually led to you setting up Cherish Expeditions. So just wanted to get like an understanding from you about what does ecotourism mean to you individually?
Right. Ecotourism is simply going to a place where you travel mindfully and leave the place and the people there in a better way, keeping its own natural beauty. That's ecotourism.
Okay, and so so I guess you've answered the question that I was going to ask you about how ecotourism benefits the economy of and how it benefits communities. So Have you, with Cherish Expeditions, have you actually seen an impact? Because you said that I guess through Cherish Expeditions, you do, travel to different parts of the country. So has it impacted, in your mind, has there been an improvement of certain communities that you've been a part of, or has it improved the economy of the area in any way?
Absolutely. So to give you an idea, I'll just pick up one of our expeditions. Climate change mitigation expedition was one of our travel projects that we did in 2021 during the pandemic. And we were fortunate that we could pull it off with a lot of support from the Kerala Tourism, Responsible Tourism Mission of Kerala. What we did was identifying a problem, which is the depletion of fishery resources in the Vembanad Lake in Alapi in Kerala, which is apparently the longest lake in India. And this was identified by a local NGO named Ashoka Trust for Research in Ecology and Environment. And we, as a bunch of aspiring eco warriors, along with the support of other organizations, we traveled to this location, had a market research, a basic research about what's going on there, identifying the problem, and understood that building something called a fish sanctuary will be the solution to this. A fish sanctuary is nothing but a safe space for fishes to breathe.
Okay, interesting. So you think that the Kerala government is, because it seems like you're directly involved with bringing about change and creating an impact in the state of Kerala, right? Or are you also involved in other parts of the country?
We have done projects in Rajasthan. We have done projects in even we have projects happening in Andaman. So we are not focused on just one locality, but we definitely focus on the idea of sustainable travel. So we want to travel to a place not just for a day, do something for the namesake and come back, but we stay there for longer term, go back to the local communities, and then come back and check on the impact that we have created. A couple of other locations that we have worked on, we have also been working on vanishing art forms and existing tribes, and working on heritage and conservation of culture and localities.
So, Cherish, tell me some of the challenges that are faced by ecotourism in India.
Yes, more of a conscious generation of travelers. But looking at the earlier usages of the terms of travel, you go to a place and you start polluting the place, right? It's not just as minimal to throwing plastic or throwing away whatever is not used, but also over tourism, going too much to a specific location, disturbing the existing habitats. Yeah, these are all huge challenges, making the indigenous tribes or the local communities to relocate in terms of mentioning development. That's a huge challenge. I feel that you're harming the existing, you're causing a chaos in the whole existing cycle in terms of not visiting off-beaten paths, but going there and going to mainly the overpopulated areas and taking natural resources as souvenirs. Like I've literally heard people taking starfishes home.
And do you think enough is being done?
I really think that there has been a huge shift, especially after COVID. There has been an awakening. There has been policies which are practical to implement, which has come into picture. But to be honest, if we look at on an individual rate, I think enough is not done. Not at
Mm.
all. It's not the responsibility of just the government to implement policies and bring in the whole idea of implementing 3 Rs and reuse and recycle. No, it shouldn't be just theory. It should be us
Yeah,
understanding that okay, switching on the lights will have greenhouse emissions. So you need to just switch it off. As
yeah,
simple as that. You need to throw off the littlest, yeah, water that we open. It ultimately the wastewater that goes to the oceans, right? So in each and every way, we humans are polluting, which we are not conscious, but it's there in the subconscious. I think that should be activated and start working towards on an individual rate so that it's a collective
yeah.
impact for the betterment of humanity and the planet.
So, what are some of your next steps and next goals that you've been working on and you've set yourself up with?
Right. So, to be honest, the pandemic was one of the uh, biggest revelation for us, being a travel first company. Uh, but we could pull off more than 3 projects during the pandemic, making sure that the travelers are safe and the communities that we visited are also safe,
Yeah.
keeping all the constraints, but we could pull it off. We have bigger visions now. We want to work on impacting lives one day at a time, but identifying problems which are really alarming. Like, for example, one reason for all the natural disasters that's happening across the globe is because of the construction that's happening. Right? There's no space for wind because there are concrete buildings, there are skyscrapers, water to flow, sand is being mined, etc., etc. So we, with the help of a bunch of architects, and I recently traveled to Bali, Indonesia, to do a research on how we can bring in certain kind of building sustainable and alternative climate responsive designed buildings using alternative model of uh, buildings, like say use bamboo or
Mm.
earthen pots and a couple of other uh, uh, variety of materials and build alternative huts. We're trying to connect with institutions and a couple of organizations to make this happen, where people who are really inclined towards coming and making a difference, if they cannot pay for the basic costs, we are looking at making it a fellowship where organizations can support and sponsor 20 individuals to come, design, build alternative huts, and contribute the build structure for a public purpose in a local community,
And
etc.
so, have you identified the communities?
We have identified one community
Okay.
in Kerala. We are still looking out, doing our researching, understanding which are the places that really need support. Maybe it's a bus stop, or maybe it's a shelter, maybe it's a toilet. So we're working on understanding how can we bring in elements of composting, how can we bring in elements of sustainable travel throughout and get the right kind of stakeholders and identify the the right community which needs immediate addressing in a vulnerable hotspot across the globe. That's one of the exciting projects. We also do have a Andaman. In Andamans, we are doing a coral reef restoration where we'll be training a bunch of 20 uh, eco warriors who would like to dive and work on the restoration and adaptation of the coral reefs, which in turn help in the work against the whole climate crisis.
Excellent. That's amazing. Good luck to you, Cherish, and thank you for sharing, such amazing work that you've been doing and sharing it with me, and in turn sharing it with my listeners and viewers. And I'm sure somewhere, someone listening will probably even reach out to you, because I think the belief, and the direction that you've taken is so important. And I'm sure there will be enough stakeholders who will want to get involved. So thank you so much. And before we sign off, is there anything that you would like to share with me and the listeners and the viewers to as a wrap up note?
So let me start with it's really an honor, such a privilege, and I feel like you said for the minuscule of the work that we do, more than recognition or even acknowledgement, it's the littlest of the smiles that we get from the community once they see the first bulb being lit in a location where there's no electricity, or a listener who reaches out back and says that, hey, I would unconditionally like to just come and support this community. These are the littlest things that we hope from any of such platforms or talks. And those are the biggest takeaways that we have when it comes from miles apart, where we couldn't have reached out, but could reach out because of you. So it's such a privilege and honor. Thank you so much. Expressing my deepest gratitude, Payal.
Thank you, Cherish. So is there a link or a website that people can reach out to you through?
So I'm active on LinkedIn. You can search for Cherish Manjooran. Even the website, cherishexpeditions.com, www.cherishexpeditions.com. You can find some of the work that we have done. I would say reach out to us on Instagram. Cherish Expeditions is the handle, and we are more active there. If there is any kind of information that you require, any clarifications, anything in terms of collaborations, or anything that you would like to reach out to us and just come and say hi.
Great. Thank you so much, Cherish. I appreciate this conversation, and it's been a lot of fun talking to you. Thank you so very much. It takes a lot of hard work and commitment by me and my team to bring these meaningful conversations to you week after week. If you're enjoying our podcasts, do write in reviews, follow and subscribe. It encourages us to continue with our mission of creating a community. I also have a very small request. There is another way of supporting. A one-time donation from you will greatly help. You can reach out on our Instagram pages, Podcast Melting Pot and nowboarding.podcast. Thank you so much. Hope you enjoyed this episode of Now Boarding, a travel podcast. Check out other episodes on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or wherever else you listen to podcasts. And of course, don't forget to share your thoughts with us. Stay tuned for more exciting episodes only on Now Boarding, a travel podcast.